podcast.
Hi, welcome to Three Pics, a movie podcast that's usually hosted by myself and my friend Chris Kennedy. This week, I'm doing a little solo episode. These are three movies that are tangentially related to each other that are currently out in theaters. They are all decidedly in the horror comedy genre. First up, we have Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. Fantastic title, honestly. This is the follow up to the 2019 movie, Ready or Not. Now, the original was about a young bride's wedding night that turns into her worst nightmare when her very rich in laws force her to play a deadly and gruesome game of hide and seek. Spoiler alert if you have not seen Ready or Not and somehow have avoided watching trailers for Ready or Not 2. This one does pick up immediately after the first one, like immediately. So Samara Weaving's character, Grace, she's just survived her game of hide and seek with the Ladomas family. And instead of being whisked away to safety, she is arrested, and the cops have a lot of questions, and the movie wastes no time right off the bat, kicking things off with her and her sister, played by Catherine Newton. Her name's Faith, Grace and Faith, which is a funny little jab at the naming conventions later in the movie. Both of these movies were directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett. Gillett? I've heard it both ways. These guys also did Scream 6 and Scream 5. Really solid horror movies, in my opinion. After Grace and Faith are reunited, they are very quickly not only put in danger, but they are put back in the position of playing another high stakes, deadly game. Faith's first time, Grace's second time. So she's kind of a pro at this point. I like that the movie doesn't waste time. It's a solid movie. I did mostly enjoy it. It was not the same experience as going into Ready or Not blind and watching that movie for the first time. It loses some of the charm and unexpectedness and some of the tension in the second movie that the first movie had in spades. Just kind of the nature of a sequel. So in this one, they kind of have to double up with the amount of killers and one note villains played by cool actors to just kind of come in and fill the time and space and have some interesting action scenes. It is a very bloody movie. This really, all of these movies I'm talking about today, if you're averse to gore, blood, that's not going to be your thing. This movie is not all blood and gore. There is good chemistry between Catherine Newton and Samara Weaving as the sisters. I enjoyed their scenes together. A solid return from Sarah Michelle Gellar in this. You have Nestor Carbonell and Sean Hitosi from The Faculty back in the day. David Cronenberg in the very beginning. So it's a pretty good cast. It's only an hour and 45 minutes. It's pretty breezy. Doesn't feel overly long like a lot of movies can these days. If you do end up seeing this movie in the theater, I hope your experience was better than mine. For the most part, maybe 90 minutes of the movie, everything was going fine. I had the theater to myself. It's nice going to see movies by yourself, to be honest. Even a movie like this that could benefit from some crowd reactions. I am perfectly fine reacting in a theater by myself, laughing and hooting and hollering alone like a psychopath. However, at around the 90-minute mark, a man entered my theater and he was inebriated and promptly tried to walk up the stairs to get to the row that I was at, tripped and fell, and eventually made his way, sat a couple of seats down from me, and proceeded to explain to me that the movie that I was actually watching was a Game of Thrones episode and that he knew everything about Game of Thrones and he would help describe anything that I didn't understand. I told him, I said, "Hey, it's fine. You don't need to explain anything. I'll just watch it for myself." He did not take me up on that offer and instead proceeded to talk through the end of this movie. So, an asterisk on, would I have liked the movie a little more? Maybe. I will say it was one of the more exciting ways to watch a movie is with a stranger who's confused that we're watching a movie and not some sort of episode of Game of Thrones. Maybe it made the experience better though, because it was pretty fucking funny. It's like one of those moments where it's like that. I feel a little nervous, but I love movies too much. So in my head, I was like, what am I going to leave and complain about this guy when it's obviously the end of the movie? I'd rather see the end of the movie, put up with the guy's shenanigans, and then, just walk out like our separate ways. Some of the more interesting things he said that Samara Weaving's character was the mother of dragons and had 3 dragon babies. So I didn't need to worry about her. The other thing he asked me was if I wanted a hit from whatever it was that he was vaping, which I politely declined. So it's quite the interesting. Ready or Not to hear this guy came into the theater. It was maybe it was just a 40X experience. It's a 40X ticket that I bought. I just didn't understand. But it was an exciting, scary time at the theater, and that had nothing to do with the movie. So Ready or Not to, if you're a fan of the genre, if you like the first one, you got to check out the second one. It's a solid follow up. So if you dig it, check it out. And for some reason, in the last couple of weeks, there's been 2 movies about a young woman fighting off satanic rich people. I don't know if the studios did this on purpose. What was the old? It was like Deep Impact and Armageddon came out like in the same week or something. Dante's Peak and the Volcano. These 2 are literally coming out within a week of each other. This is called They Will Kill You. This one was directed by Kirill Sokolov, and the story, which is pretty thin, is that a woman answers a help wanted ad to be housekeeper in a mysterious high rise in New York City, not really realizing that she's entering a community of a satanic cult that, is responsible for a lot of disappearances. So, not the exact same story, but eerily close for coming out a week from each other. This movie stars Zazie Beetz and Patricia Arquette and Heather Graham, Tom Felton from Harry Potter. I wasn't the biggest fan of this movie. This movie starts off with an oddly serious scene with 2 sisters, just like Ready or Not to. 2 sisters, crazy. Something's in the water. But it's a very serious setup to the movie, and then it time jumps. And honestly, it kind of wrong foots you because you're initially thinking this is a very serious, maybe action revenge flick, but it's kind of goofy. There's a lot of silly stuff in this movie. There's a lot of silly stuff in the violence. It's very stylized. It reminded me a lot of Quentin Tarantino in its style and execution. A lot of Kill Bill vibes in this. I mean, not just Tarantino vibes from the violence and the action, but there's even like a foot scene. So very Tarantino influenced. I think it runs into this problem where it wears its influence on its sleeve of Tarantino that it's hard not for you to unfairly maybe compare it to Kill Bill, because this movie in the story department, I mean, the story is very thin. It has hardly a plot at all, which is fine if all you want to see is the action sequences, of which some are very impressive, or the crazy gore. For my money, I think this movie would have been better off being more Sam Raimi influenced and leaning into the comedy and the dastardly chaotic gore, because definitely some talent behind the camera, and it's not a terrible movie. If again, one of those things, if you're a fan of the genre, check it out. Zazie Beetz is a confident action star. Patricia Arquette's an odd casting choice. She is a fantastic actress, but miscast in this, or maybe just misdirected. She has a very interesting Irish accent that I found very distracting and a little silly. And that's where like the story is trying to be so serious in its revenge tale that I really needed it to pick either a serious revenge or this silly, goofy, let's kill these Satanists movie. It kind of struggles being both, not without merit. If you're a fan of the genre, check it out. As always, I recommend checking things out on the big screen whenever possible. It's the best way to see movies like this. I did see this with a crowd. Some of the scenes went over better than others. It was mixed reactions because there's some really gnarly, bloody scenes in this. So your mileage may vary. I would say of all the 3 movies, this was maybe my least favorite. My favorite of all 3 of these movies was Forbidden Fruits. This is the debut film from director Meredith Alloway, who also co-wrote it with Lily Houghton. Forbidden Fruits is about a free Eden employee at the mall named Apple, who secretly runs like a witchy femme sisterhood cult with a couple of girls she works with, also named after fruits Cherry and Fig. The whole thing is kicked off by a new hire named Pumpkin. She challenges this group of friends in their performative sisterhood with some witchy and horror results. This movie feels like a mashup of The Craft and Bean Girls and a little bit of Jennifer's Body, which Diablo Cody actually helped produce this. It's very funny. It has a very specific setting. It's in the Dallas Fort Worth area, and I have a lot of experience with that area. I think this movie is better if you've been to Dallas, or especially if you're from Dallas or you're familiar with the culture. There are a lot of Dallas coded jokes and cultural touches that are really well done. My favorite being one of the characters, Cherry, played by Victoria Pedretti from Haunting of Hill House, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She's amazing in this, steals the movie, in my opinion. But the first couple of scenes with her, in my head, I was thinking, she seems like a girl from Highland Park. And lo and behold, she is a girl from Highland Park, which is in the Dallas area. I laughed so hard in the theater. So good. The movie's like a candy coated poison apple, has quite the bite to it. I think of all three of the movies I'm talking about today, this one succeeds the most at pulling off being a dark comedy. It is genuinely funny, and in the last 10 minutes of this movie, it goes bonkers and delivers on the horror side of things. Could, be off-putting to some. If that's your kind of shit, then this movie's your kind of shit. Forbidden Fruits also has a pretty fun cameo that isn't officially revealed until the end of the movie. But if you know what to listen for, you'll get it. There are definitely some moments that fall a little flat, maybe some of the performances that aren't quite where you'd want them to be. But otherwise, this movie, I think it nails the look of the mall because it's really just in that one setting. If you've ever worked at a mall, especially, it nails the vibe and the environment. And it's a real showcase again for some of these actresses. Lily Reinhart especially seems to have a lot of fun getting to navigate being the mother hen while also maintaining a sense of vulnerability around her edges that you sense could come crashing down, and maybe that's why she has such a hard outer shell. Without spoiling it, the last 10 minutes are gonzo, so much fun. It left me being like, hell yeah, Meredith Alloway, I'm down for your next movie, whatever that ends up being. Gotta love Texas representation, right? This is good Texas representation. So there you have it, three picks that are currently out in the theaters right now, or by the time you're listening to it, maybe they're available to rent or stream. Either way, keep supporting movies. Don't be scared of random inebriated guys walking into your theater. I go to the movies all the time, and so far that's only happened to me once, which is that's pretty good considering how often I go. Be sure to support your local theaters if you love movies. If you can, buy physical media. Let me know if you saw Ready or Not 2 or They Will Kill You or Forbidden Fruits and what you thought about it. I am excited to be back with my friend and co-host Chris Kennedy in our next episode, where we will be picking three video game movies. If you go to my letterbox, Clint T is my username. I will be posting a list of our picks in the movies, so you can, if you want to watch the movies to get ready for the episode or just get a little familiar with them. If you haven't yet, be sure to leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Hopefully a good one. Like and subscribe, follow all the stuff. You can find us at Three Picks on Instagram, on YouTube, all the things. Hope you're having a good week. And now I'll leave you with some words of wisdom recently shared to me by a stranger in the theater. Don't worry about her. That bitch is gonna be okay. She's got like 3 fucking dragon babies. Trust me. See you next time.